The demographics in the nation are changing, and we as a university have to change with it.
And with this greater interconnectivity, there's a greater potential for conflicts and misunderstanding across differences, but also a greater potential for understanding across differences.
The social ills that plagued us in the 20th century and in the 19th century continue to rear their heads in the 21st century.
What better way to learn about the world than to meet people who have been all around the world, who are coming from all over around the world.
Research evidence suggests that learning and problem solving are both greatly enhanced when cohorts of students working together in the classroom are diverse.
Diversity and inclusion for the 21st century university is an entirely different matter than it was 40 years ago.
Over the 25 years that I've been here, just the nature of the conversation has changed significantly. Who we even think of as marginalized or underrepresented groups has changed significantly.
It was a new and cutting-edge idea. Now it is an essential structural element of any competent intellectual enterprise.
Yes, we may be intellectuals in an academic environment, but above all, we are humans learning what it is to be human.
Figuring out ways to destabilize systems of discrimination and systems of exclusion. If those conversations can't happen here at Brown, I don't know where else they can happen.
I work to help all of our community understand diversity, understand skill sets that are required to develop individuals, to help them to understand that people communicate and work differently depending on their culture, depending on their exposure and their experiences in life.
Some of the work that I do here at the Brown Center for Students of Color contributes to a diverse learning environment by fostering community amidst students of color and their peers, facilitate intergenerational mentoring between students of color and then alumni of color, and then also to bring dialogues to various communities on campus.
At the foundational level, students are thinking critically about these issues. But I also encourage students to think self-reflectively, have them practice looking self-reflectively at what the histories of exclusion look like even on campus. What that has allowed students to do is to think critically about how they can also be social agents of change.
Some of the most rewarding experiences I've had have been working with students who are struggling and seeing them grow and develop as students and become more comfortable with who they are, later taking on leadership roles at Brown and beyond.
The diversity of the student body on campus can either overwhelm or empower, depending on the resources. I think one of the vital issues is diversifying our faculty. If students can look to their professors or administrators and see something in themselves reflected back, I think that would motivate.
We need to empower people to have voices, to express themselves when they need support.
As administrators, we need to be more thoughtful, careful, and committed to learning about the communities that we're going to be interfacing with, such that we can ensure that the resources that we provide through the institution are accessible, available, and targeted.
Oftentimes as administrators, we're not really sure how much of an impact we're making on students, especially when they're going through a crisis. But I've had many students come back to me later and say how important it was to have these types of services, especially the LGBTQ Center, as a central part of the university to help them succeed while they were at Brown.
The student community helps drive the reflection and critical engagement among the administration around how we can best become a more diverse and inclusive environment.
It seems to me we have a decent representation of women of color specifically who have come back to Brown to serve as educators and administrators. And many of these folks were activists while they were undergraduates. For me personally, it's always been a little surreal for me to come back to Brown as an educator and administrator when frankly as an undergraduate I'd had somewhat of a contested relationship with the institution. Yet there was something about this place that perhaps gave me hope and desire to be engaged, and that maybe change and positive development within the community would be possible.
Pupils and students are complex beings with diverse background and multiple identity that often intersects and interrelate. I think that our approach to diversity should reflect, acknowledge, incorporate, and celebrate that reality.